Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're well. You're amazing, beautiful, wonderful people, and you are looking marvellous, must I say? Yes, I must say, because you do, and it's Marvellous Monday. And what better way to start the day on a Marvellous Monday than to look damn marvellous? Well done. So, look, this is the first part of 3 parts where we're going to be digging into the Bryan Kohberger and Idaho 4 case from a little bit of a different perspective. Because ultimately, when there's a murder, when people die, there's specific reasons for it. Now, that can be that this is just random. Just random. No rhyme or reason to it. This is just a random thing. It can be revenge. Ooh, revenge. Or it can be jealousy. Someone was jealous. Whether that be jealous of an individual, whether that be jealous of a type of person and a type of life that people see and they hate. So in this one, we're talking about random. Was the Idaho 4 case simply random? And with respect of Bryan Kohberger, does this being random fit? Does the crime itself fit? Does the way in which the crime happened fit? Does Bryan and what we know about Bryan fit this scenario? And does what we literally know, which is little, does that look like this was simply random? And is that why we're seeing so many difficulties? So look, first of all, let's think. So what supports this being random with respect of Bryan Kohberger being the person who's been pointed the finger at? Now, we've heard there's no connection. No connection whatsoever between Bryan Kohberger and the victims. Nothing. There's been no. Now, don't get me wrong. We're yet to see the trial, and I am open to law enforcement coming forward, the prosecution coming forward, and showing us a connection. Showing us. My thought process on this is, however, that Ann Taylor and Eliza Massif have said there is no connection, and they say Bryan Kohberger is innocent. So if the prosecution have shared the information that they should have shared by this stage, now don't get me wrong, there are other deadlines, so there is chance for other stuff to come forward, but as it is currently, I must concede that there is no connection, so that would support this being completely random. Because it doesn't have to be a connection if it is indeed random. This is when someone is just, they can be a psychopath. In fact, they could be a serial killer. Serial killers don't generally have a reason that they kill. Most of their killings are simply random. They are murders by convenience. Someone just happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time when this person's valve has got to be and reset. Does that make sense? But then the crime itself. We have elements of the crime itself that screams randomness again. Because if we are to be led to believe that the white Hyundai Elantra, for instance, was Bryan Kohberger's, and we look at the behaviour of that car, and we're saying that the car that was seen and caught on camera is indeed his, the behaviour of that car, I spoke about this briefly yesterday, behaves in a way that stinks of random. It stinks of lost. This is a car searching for something, looking for something. Is it simply not connected to the crime at all? Is this just a car that is looking to find an address? Is it the DoorDash driver? I would hope not. Genuinely, I would hope it's not, because you would think law enforcement would have fully investigated this situation, and I asked myself, what would be the benefit of claiming that one car is someone else's car, unless you can weave that, like I said yesterday, weave that in to kind of help your narrative somewhat. But I'm hoping that will come out at trial. But this car, if it's not the DoorDash driver, and it is indeed involved in the crime, its behaviour looks to be not a car with a specific purpose that knows where it's going. So yeah, that goes hand in hand with random. However, things start to fall apart at this stage. Because we talk about the person entering the house. We talk about the person entering a house and doing this crime in approximately 8 minutes. Now, some people can do a load of damage in a very short amount of time. But what they fail to sort of recognize when they talk about these cases is that this is where someone goes into a building where there is a load of people, and they go and lash out and they attack, and there's a load of people around them. But that's not what happened in this situation. This is where someone has systematically gone into a house and traversed their way around a house that contained 6 people. Now, they executed 4 of the people in this house and left 2 people alive. There didn't seem to be any randomness in that, because if you attach randomness to this crime, then you would have to ask them why, if this was random, why did this person walk into this house and make a conscious decision to avoid certain rooms in the house? They would have come into this house via the sliding door, if that's what happened, and they have 2 rooms on that floor, one being Dylan Mortensen's and one being the Ethan and Xana's room. But it would appear that this person walks into this house and goes straight by these rooms and goes upstairs. And when they go up onto this floor, there's still 2 doors. One of them has the dog in it, and the other one has Maddie and Kaylee in it. Now, did this person open the door that had the dog in it? Was the dog in that room by itself at this time? Now, that's something that is not 100% clear, but how did this person know who was in which one of these rooms? Because surely if they'd have opened the door and the dog sees a stranger and goes fucking mental, then you're going to hear that on the camera. But it doesn't sound like the dog was going absolutely batshit crazy. And certainly that wasn't something that was mentioned in the PCA, that Murphy was going nuts. So it would lead me to believe that there's a potential this person not only avoided the rooms downstairs and went upstairs, but then went to the right door upstairs, done this, came back downstairs, avoided another door again, and then went to another room. They've then left that room and come back out and then left. The crime itself doesn't, in my opinion, go hand in hand with random. It simply doesn't. There seemed to be an element of this person knew what they were going to do. They knew where they had to go. They knew what time was best to go there, because that just happened to be just the right time when every single thing had just kind of come to an end. So no, I don't think that if you put Bryan Kohberger into the equation and the actual timeline that we have goes hand in hand with random. But there is a caveat to this, because we know that the timeline for this crime only exists because of the witnesses in the house seemingly placing someone clad in black with a mask and bushy eyebrows in the house at a specific time, and Xana's phone, for instance, claiming that she seemingly was on her phone at around 4:12 a.m. But there are elements to that become problematic once again, because if Bryan Kohberger isn't the perpetrator, for instance, or the White Hyundai Elantra has nothing to do with this, then do we truly know what the timeline is? And do we know how long this crime actually took? Did it take longer? Did more happen in this house than we have been told? That's the problem. We have to trust unequivocally what we're being told about what happened and the length of time it took. Now, do you let me know down below? Even the people who believe Bryan Kohberger was involved in the crime and perhaps did the crime, do they still feel that everything that we're being told about what actually happened in the house is accurate? Do we believe that the timeline is accurate, regardless of who we feel did it? But I'm going to strike off that I do not for 1 second believe this was random. So that leaves us with 2 things, and that is that we're looking at either a revenge killing or we're looking at a jealousy killing. Something to do with a female relationship or a male relationship. Something to do with jealousy. Let me know down below what you think. And I'll catch you all in part 2.